नमस्कार, आप देख रहे हैं आपका बाजार। मैं हूं साक्षी बत्रा।
नमस्कार, मैं हूं दीपाली राणा। आप देख रहे हैं आपका बाजार। सबसे पहले मार्केट्स का हाल देख लेते हैं। शुरुआत एक अच्छे नोट पर हुई थी, लेकिन अपनी शुरुआती स्ट्रेंथ को मार्केट होल्ड नहीं कर पाया और अब निफ्टी दिन के निचले स्तरों पर ट्रेड करे महज 11 अंक ऊपर 8734 के लेवल्स पर है। कुछ चुनिंदा स्टॉक और सेक्टर्स ने जहां से आज एक परफॉर्मेंस आती हुई दिखी है। चुनिंदा बैंक, चुनिंदा ऑटो, आईटी और फार्मा स्टॉक्स में आज बाइंग इंटरेस्ट देखे गए हैं, लेकिन इंपॉर्टेंट यह है कि निफ्टी बैंक अब लाल निशान में आ चुका है और मार्केट्स ने अपनी ऊपरी स्ट्रेंथ को होल्ड नहीं किया है और अब 8750 के नीचे निफ्टी ट्रेड कर रहा है। लेकिन अब बातचीत करने के लिए खास मेहमान हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। मिस्टर जिम रॉजर्स हमारे साथ हैं, एस इन्वेस्टर और साथ साथ चेयरमैन है रॉजर्स होल्डिंग के। मिस्टर रॉजर्स, गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू जी बिजनेस। नाउ फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कि आफ्टर यूएस फेड मीट, इन्वेस्टर्स हैव शिफ्टेड देयर फोकस टू जियोपॉलिटिकल scenario and which is being dominated by the US presidential elections right now. Today we heard the heated argument between both the presidential candidates. So what's your initial comments on this scenario which is building up in US right now?
Well, I could have told you everything they were going to say. One would call the other one a liar, and then the other one would call him a liar. They would make up facts, they would make up proposals. This is not good for the world. This is not good for the world at all, Shakshi.
Right. Mr. Rogers, we would like to know from you, this was the first presidential debate. Out of this debate, what do you see and what have you been able to decipher? Who has the upper hand in the first debate? And based on that, do you think somebody is closer to winning the candidateship?
From what I could see, there was not much change. I doubt if anything was said which is going to change anybody's view. If you were for Trump, you still are. If you were for Clinton, you still were. And if you were undecided, you're probably still undecided.
Mr. Rogers, as you said, कि all these statements which were issued during the debate, that is not good for the world. What does it exactly mean, and what impact do you see on global markets due to this pre-election debate?
Well, Shakshi, one is offering the world trade wars everywhere with China, with Mexico. Well, trade wars have always been disastrous. The other is offering the world very high taxes, both of which is not going to help anybody. High taxes will slow the American economy. Trade wars will slow the American economy too.
Right. Mr. Rogers, we would like to understand from you. We heard a few statements from both the candidates, and where one person, where Hillary Clinton has been promising that she's going to invest in the future of US citizens, into technology, into innovation, whereas Donald Trump said that he is going to reduce taxes considerably. Based on these things, do you think that one of them is going to definitely try to improve the US economy at least?
Shakshi, I know you have to report on things like this, but I don't pay too much attention. These are empty promises from discredited politicians. They're both going to try to make things better. They don't want to go down in history saying, "Oh, I tried to make things worse." They're going to try to do something that for the world that they think is better. But if you read what they say they're going to do, they are not good for America and they're not good for the world.
Mr. Rogers, as you are saying, कि in current scenario, whatever have been the statements of the presidential candidates, it would lead to trade war, which is not good for the US economy. So, what impact do you see on US markets performance, which have seen a decent rally in past few months in the current scenario?
Well, Shakshi, if you look at the American stock market over the last 2 years, you will see that most stocks have been going down. The averages are up because of a few big stocks. There are 10 stocks which never go down, Amazon, companies like that, and they hold the market up. But most stocks in America have been going down for 2 years, and most stocks in the world have been going down for the last couple of years. Underneath the euphoria of a few big companies in America, there's serious deterioration in stock markets around the world.
Absolutely.
You should be worried, Shakti. You should be worried.
So absolutely, like you have also mentioned in your previous interviews that there is a concern, one should worry that either of the two, if either of the two win, there is going to be a scenario of bankruptcy and trade wars, just like you have mentioned. So can we say that an emergency situation can be occurring on the global economies, and they are going to face some serious consequences if either of them win?
Well, yeah, just look at what they say. Don't listen to me. Mr. Trump says he's going to do this, trade wars. Mrs. Clinton says she's going to raise taxes for everybody. Neither of those scenarios has ever led to a good economy anywhere in the world. The lesson of history, Shakshi, is that most people do not learn the lesson of history, even if they know the lessons of history.
Also, Mr. Rogers, then in this scenario, what's your strategy in the US markets right now? Are you shorting US stocks, and are you being comfortable with the probably the commodities right now in the current situation?
I have sold short American stocks, mainly the ones we talked about before that always go down. Obviously, I'm losing money on those, but that usually is what happens at the end of a bull move. The last few stocks keep going up, and then suddenly they crack too and join the rest of the stocks. So I am short American stocks. I'm not making money, but it's not. I hope it's not the end of the world for me.
Right. Mr. Rogers, now I would like to understand from you about the Indian IT stocks, specifically TCS, HCL Technologies. These have been in the statements of Donald Trump as well, and he has said that these two companies are basically responsible for taking jobs of US citizens away, and he's going to take stringent action if he becomes the president. What do you have to say to that? How will the Indian markets react, and what does it mean for Indian IT sector?
Shakshi, he says everybody's responsible for taking jobs away. Cookie companies in Mexico. It doesn't matter who you are. You're responsible for taking jobs away from Americans. If he's elected, yes, he's going to lash out at a lot of companies in a lot of countries. If you listen to what he says, and if he does what he says, it's going to have bad consequences for much of the world, including the United States.
Mr. Rogers, how do you see Indian markets performing in this backdrop?
Well, I'm worried about stock markets everywhere in the world for the next couple of years. You know, they've been going up for 7 or 8 years. As I said before, the market breadth is already deteriorating badly everywhere in the world. This has usually led to stock market declines nearly everywhere. So I'm very worried.
Absolutely. Mr. Rogers, we would like to understand from you the kind of jingoistic statements that Donald Trump has been making, whether it is regarding the US jobs or Indian IT companies or sealing borders with Mexico. Are these just gimmicks for getting votes, or is he going to walk the talk?
No, he believes. He actually believes everything he says. Part of the problem is he changes what he says a lot of times, but he strongly believes that he can solve America's problems with tariffs and trade wars. He believes it. It's not something he's making up to get elected. He's doing it to get elected, but he believes everything he says about trade wars.
And Mr. Rogers, who you are going to vote for in both of them?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Who are you going to vote for, Mr. Rogers?
I will not vote for either of them. I will vote for the protest vote. I will probably vote for the Libertarian.
Right.
Mr. Rogers, apart from equity...
If we keep voting for turkeys, they will send us more turkeys. So I will not vote for either turkey. The lesser of two evils is still an evil.
All right.
Mr. Rogers, one comment on commodities as well. Apart from equities, what's the outlook on commodity prices right now you have? And outcome of OPEC meet is still awaited. So what's the strategy of yours in commodities?
Well, Shakshi, there are a lot of commodities. Sugar's going up. Sugar's making 4 or 5 year highs. I own sugars, I think you know. Oil is making a complicated bottom. Gold, I expect a better chance to buy gold later. Depends on which commodity you mean. They're not all the same any more than all stocks are the same.
Right. Mr. Rogers, also we've seen that in the September meeting, US Fed has not raised any interest rates. But in the December meet, do you feel that there is going to be some rate hike?
Oh, yes. They will. Interest rates will certainly go up at the December meeting. Either the market will drive them up or the Federal Reserve will drive them up, or both.
And what does that mean for the world markets, including India?
I want to repeat that the world markets, I'm very worried about the world markets for the next couple of years. Breadth is already in serious decline around the world. We've had a bull market going on for 7 or 8 years. That's longer than normal. There are many reasons to be worried.
And what do you suggest the investors do at this point in time?
Well, everybody has to make their own decisions, invest in what they know about. You know, I have sold short America. I own Russia and a few other places. I'm worried about the world. In India, at least Mr. Modi started doing something finally. I do not have a position in Indian shares, but if the election turns out either way in America, the world financial markets are going to have problems, Shakshi. Be worried.
Right. Mr. Rogers, last question.
Shakshi, one good thing for you.
Okay.
You have job security because somebody's going to have to report on this horrible mess which is coming. So at least you have a good job.
Thank you.
Mr. Rogers, one last question to you. Gold is up 30% since the beginning of the year and you have been long time bull. But are you still buying gold?
I am not buying gold at these prices. I'm not selling. I am waiting for another chance to buy gold in the next couple of years.
What are the other commodities you are bullish on?
Well, we talked about sugar before. I own gold. I own all the commodities. Oil is making a complicated bottom. In a couple of years, we'll look back and see that the bottom was made in 2016 and 17. I'm not selling any commodity, especially agriculture. Agriculture is very depressed and very attractive.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Rogers, for joining us on Zee Business Live, an exclusive on Zee Business. Thank you very much for your perspective on the US elections and also on the commodities and the world markets as well.